Hello and welcome to Proof of Concept, the podcast about concept cars that this week has gone awfully wrong in every single possible way.
Single way.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And I'm Will.
And we've had a nightmare.
We've had literal mares trying to figure this thing out.
So for the first time ever, I say this is episode 2, but on a very rare occasion, we're actually recording this in the same room.
Together.
Yeah, about a metre apart, using the same headset because everything has gone wrong.
Yep.
This is the second time we're recording this. Also recording this quite late in the day, quite late in the week, because it's due to go up
2
tomorrow.
days. Yeah.
No, 2 days. Yeah,
2
days.
So we're cutting it fine. This
Yeah.
is working well.
This is the cursed episode.
Curse of the Isuzu.
Yes. So, Will, how has your last fortnight been? Even though I asked this question to you yesterday, or the day before, when we recorded this the first time.
Exactly, and I so remember what we said. No, it's been expensive more than anything.
Yeah, same here. You go with yours first. Go on.
Yeah, wonderful. New bulbs for a car that you'd think prices would be cheap. They are not. I was expecting £10 for a set of new bulbs, as one of them had blown. £26.
Yes, but you made the mistake of going to Halfords.
I didn't go to Halfords.
Did you not?
I went to Euro Car Parts.
Oh.
I made the fatal mistake.
Equally as expensive, but slightly more knowledgeable at least.
But it's the thing with Halfords and everything else. You put the registration number in and it comes up with a set of bulbs that's completely different.
Yeah.
So it's trial and error. Anything on your front in terms of expense?
Well, do you know? Yes, actually. So I'm
Funny.
off tomorrow. So yesterday on this, to go hang out with Harry's Car Stuff of TikTok. You are coming with me to film now.
Look at us,
because-
best buddies.
Yes. So we're going to make some content on how to change tyres, which means I've had to spend £125 on a set of 2 front tyres. Oh, yeah, bit costly.
Just a fraction.
And annoyingly, that should have been covered by my bonus, which didn't come in.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have, however, just installed an air intake on my car for free because thanks to my good friend Ollie, who helped me install it today. It seems to have made the car slower.
yep.
Not great.
Yep, that's of course what you want with a performance modification.
Yeah. Talking of performance modifications, which is not at all a lead-in in any way. I'm just trying to stumble through this as best I can in this cursed episode. You've been test driving a car.
I have.
Yes. Speak into the one headset.
The magic was on one set of all. The new Mazda 3.
The one with the awkward back window.
With the awkward arse.
Yes.
I saw one driving in white and I thought, ooh, I quite like that. It's a shape, certainly. It's very much a Marmite car. And I was pleasantly surprised, more than anything. Weak in terms of power, with a 122 horsepower from a 2 litre. That's pathetic.
And it's non-turbo, isn't it?
Non-turbo.
For context, by the way, to anyone watching, my MR2, which for 2 weeks running now has not been pictured in my photo because I seem to have only taken photos of my Alpha, which I
Indeed.
find hilarious. That has a 1.8 1ZZ FE, which is the less powerful version of that engine, which is capable of 140 horsepower. From 2000, I think even earlier than that.
And mine's from 2006 and makes 105 from 1.5.
Yeah, so
that's a big difference.
So 2 litres only making. You said it was hybrid, didn't you?
Mild hybrid.
So does it? Oh, and then mild hybrid doesn't really get much of a boost, does it?
Not really.
'Cause that's just.
Yeah,
that is very low power, actually.
Yeah, ridiculously low.
Very.
Surprised, to say the least, because you could have an option of 186 horsepower, if I remember correctly. But
Was that the supercharged? version?
which
Anything with the supercharger wine is just better.
makes my feminine side run away. Yes, please.
I can't say much about my feminine side when we're talking into my headset, which is a big pig headset with cat ears on.
You're really fulfilling the masculine look there.
Yes, absolutely.
But I was pleasantly surprised. It's low down, thick profile, low profile tyres, And
so that's going to be quite comfortable at least. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I was expecting it to crash about. I was expecting him to dodge him, basically. And I was really impressed. It was extremely comfortable. And, I mean, I've never driven a brand new car. A new car to me is something that has a hole in the floor the size of your face.
I think the newest car I've ever owned was a 2007 car in
Same.
2015.
2019 with a 2007.
Yeah.
My Fiesta.
I currently own the oldest thing I've ever owned. At 18 years at the time of ownership. 19 coming out, which is, well, a bit scary, isn't it? 2003 MR2.
My first Micra, my first ever car, was 1999.
Alright, show me up, I don't know.
With a 1 litre that exploded. That was fun.
It was a bit shit as well, wasn't it?
It was terrible.
Yeah. No, was that the one I drove? No, I drove the
1.3.
Oh,
CVT.
let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never driven a Nissan with a CVT,
From the 90s.
don't.
No.
Just save yourself the
Run.
pain.
Yep. Either new car or new gearbox. Run for the hills, otherwise they are terrible.
Or just save yourself the pain and not buy a Nissan.
Yeah.
Because there are far more interesting and better Japanese car companies out there.
Daihatsu.
Well, I was going to lead on. I was using that as a segue into your topic of the day, which is Isuzu.
Isuzu. Well, we'll dabble with it because they did try with their sports cars. They're small things as well, but from what we can see in front of your eyes, that's what they're known for best. And the Trooper is probably by far my favourite because I'm used to Land Rovers, and Land Rovers are shocking.
Yes.
They are genuinely terrible. And the Trooper is a Land Rover alternative. And
That works.
That works. And has bigger engine power. It is nicer.
Do you know the thing I always find funny about the Land Rover people? Is that they have the Discovery 1, Discovery 2, Discovery 3, and they think like it's the best vehicle they've ever... And they'll go up like a mildly snowy hill, and they're like, yeah, look at this, oh no, every other car's crap, and you land... And I'm like, yes, but like a stock... And they've had to do this with, beefy tyres, and but a stock Trooper would have done that.
Yeah. Perfectly happy.
Fair enough, we actually... Sorry, before to segue. We had a V8 Discovery 2 when I was a kid.
Ooh.
We took it off-roading once,
Mm-hmm.
because my mum had a Mitsubishi L200 long wheelbase, which is the wrong thing to take off-road.
Yep. You do not want length.
Yeah, that only got stuck once, no, twice. Both times it just got sort of stuck, bogged down in a thing. Otherwise, never had issues. We took the Land Rover off-roading once, maybe twice. It broke both times, and it was hopeless the whole time.
Yep. Terrible. They're just... they're your luxury faux pas. The posh soccer mum sort of... My daddy's got more money than your daddy thing, whereas a Trooper is bomb-proof.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we're both more Team Isuzu in that case.
Yeah, I'm definitely pro Isuzu. And they've gone from...
That's the Land Rover bashing section.
Yeah, exactly. Dead, sorted. But they now only make the D-Max, which, again, Marmite. It's brown for a start, but I think it looks good. Butch.
I'm not a fan of the way it looks. Size-wise, by the way, to any Americans watching, because I don't think it gets sold over there.
Nope.
It's a slightly larger pickup truck than the Ford Ranger. So quite small by American standards, sure. But because they are sponsors of the Welsh rugby team, I'm therefore a big fan of them. Purely for that.
Yeah.
No other reason.
No, of course.
Just national pride.
I don't have any national pride. I'd rather not be British. I'm not going to discuss politics.
And cancelled
And
off
cancelled.
the air. Huzzah.
But I bring up Isuzu because they've had a checkered history and they've been previously mad. So they've gone from... Well, this is what they're best known for, but what they were first known for was something like this. The Zen.
Now, this to me looks like some kind of Halo like reject design. It reminds me of Halo Reach, of all things, because occasionally you could steal a lorry from the background and not drive it very fast because they were pretty crap.
They were
I'm
terrible. Yep.
very much off topic here, so if you want to take over and
Yep.
talk
No,
about
that's fine.
this
That's
is
fine.
the cursed episode.
It's going well.
I really hope they get better after this one. This has been such
This
a
has
show.
been appalling. But the Zen was released to the Tokyo Motor Show in 2001. What made me a bit like, was it was designed by a Brit for Tokyo.
Didn't you say on the last recording, because because this is the second recording we've done on this episode. Because the
Mhm.
first one
Was abysmal.
the audio just didn't work. I'm not even sure if the audio works on this one yet. I'm hoping.
Yeah, we gotta pray. We're gonna hope and pray.
And it just only recorded the top corner of the screen for whatever reason.
So you can just see glass and a bit of seat.
Yeah, you could just see this top left-hand corner, which is hilarious. But no, didn't you say on the first recording this was designed by a Brummie?
It was. It was designed in Birmingham, designed in the Midlands in particular. But from the marketing bump, Isuzu wanted to make a stationary office that could be transformed into a car or vice versa, a bit like the old Renault Espace, but they've cranked the dial up to 11 and have put very strange stickers over it. It's certainly a look, but I like it. It's different.
I mean, I think we said last time, again, annoyingly, all completely useless audio now, so, you know. We said last time, it's you first see it, it's quite ugly. But the more you kind of study it, it's one of these weird things where you end up kind of appreciating it a bit more. The thing I remember saying it looked like a train station.
The Guggenheim.
Yeah, a bit Santiago Calatrava. But it's one of these weird things where it's, again, you just kind of stare at it and it's so awkward and bizarre. It's kind of cool in a very Cybertruck way.
Yeah. Cybertruck before Cybertruck was the thing.
Yeah, and I quite like it, to be honest. I don't understand how the doors work though.
No, that's magic. You crawl, you go through the back with osmosis by the seams of things, because I mean, I'm pointing at the screen, so no one can actually. I'm just. This is for the what he actually
sake
means
of
is
me
the
and
join
Will.
in the door
Yeah.
where the glass is next to the seat.
No, why not? I don't understand. Also, is it suicide doors here at the back?
From the looks of things, it is.
I do kind of like that.
Because I don't know about you, but aside from the Vauxhall Mariva or a Rolls Royce, you don't see suicide doors. They're not there.
Yeah,
They're not a
there's the
thing.
RX-8, which is really, really inconvenient, actually.
Very.
They should have just made it a two-door, but, you know.
I like them. They're cool.
Yeah.
But,
so what are the sort of stats on this, then?
well, I couldn't find much, but at this time, Isuzu were part of General Motors. So
Okay.
they stole a lot of parts, mechanically anyway, from General Motors. And it uses a 3-litre Ecotec V6 diesel. So dual overhead cams, 24 valves, sending power, of all places, to the rear wheels.
See, that I find quite interesting, because looking at this, you'd think...
It's four-wheel
Four-wheel drive, yeah.
You think it's high off the floor, chunky tyres, chunky wheel arches. You think, yep, that can pretty much go anywhere and be an office.
But then again, I guess, yeah, if you're making this... Actually, that's a good point, because this is designed to be used in Tokyo traffic. So obviously having it as rear-wheel drive makes perfect sense.
And it was tacked to a 4-speed auto as well. So
Then why are we looking at the sales bump here, where it's decided to go, yes, look at this off-road vehicle?
it doesn't go off-road.
Yeah, I mean it might do, but
It'll go so far, but
it's a very... I mean, it's not hard to see why this sort of... and this is one of the things you'll find a lot of times when people will make a concept vehicle that just doesn't make any sense, because what market?
yeah, who does this appeal to?
Yeah, nobody really needs a car that when they get stuck in traffic they can quickly fold all the seats back up, because once you fold all the seats back up to make it into an office, what if the traffic moves again?
No, never.
Yeah,
I've spilt the tea.
I mean,
The pens.
I mean,
the staplers.
you can't even pull over to do it, because there's no hard shoulder now.
No.
Yeah, everywhere's a
Smart
smart
motor.
motorway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
You're going to get clattered by a lorry and die to death.
Exactly. With the tatami woven mats hitting you in the back of the skull.
Tatami wolf, is that this weird sort of
Blue.
Yeah,
It's a... Well, that's... If I can remember...
they don't really look like they're comfortable, do they?
They look like dentist chairs that have gone wrong.
very upright dentist chairs.
Actually, I changed my mind. It's springs mounted to a piece of plywood and then mounted to an office chair.
Yeah, that doesn't
But-
seem very zen.
Which is weird because it's designed with the front seats and the back seats to fold against the dashboard and into the floor, as the tatami floor mats are mixed with bamboo floor, basically to create a Japanese tea room.
Which doesn't seem very coherent with an office. But again, I kind of like the bonkersness of that.
Yeah, it's mad, and it's Isuzu's sort of pseudo crossover thing. It's a thing.
It seems like they built something that when they sold it on after this show, it was going to get used in, 13 different movies in different sci-fis, and then end up on someone's driveway rotting away.
Exactly, like a Land Rover City Cab from Judge Dredd.
Oh, the big yellow one.
The big yellow massive thing.
Isn't that some guy in Birmingham has that? It's somewhere in England.
£30,000 worth.
Yeah, he just
of
has it. Yeah,
thing.
has it rotten on his driveway. Just,
what a thing to have.
I kind of like that. That's a very me thing to want to do. Just hey, here's this monolith of a vehicle just parked here.
Have it all.
But yeah, I quite like that. So that's the Zen. I think it's safe to say we're both fans of the Zen.
We're fans of the Zen. I'm certainly a fan of the Zen, but I'm more in favour of the Arse of Fire. Apparently, the Asso di Fiori. Or
you just stole my joke from the last recording. You bastards!
I realised what you said, and then I went, aha, that's what he meant, not what I meant. I have social cue problems. It's fantastic. But
now I think this one is slightly cheating because the whole point of this podcast, Will, if you remember, was we meant to look at concept cars that didn't get made.
Yeah, all right, okay.
And what happened with the Ass of Fire?
It became the Piazza.
Yeah, we did, didn't it?
but you see, I included it because it's a different thing. Because Isuzu are known for 4x4s, that's what they do best. But this is what they have done. But they don't do anymore. It's a sort of contradictory change. And I know it became a real thing, but you don't see it anywhere. It's very individual.
Well, weirdly, I thought they'd be cheap because I compared this a lot to the AE86, which when Will gives you the stats in a minute, you'll see exactly why I compared it as such. These are more expensive.
Yeah.
Which I thought was mad. But I remember, obviously you probably remember, I wasn't a big fan of this the first time we looked at it. The more you look at these, actually,
the prettier.
Yeah, I have changed my mind since last week, or whatever it was. No, Wednesday. Yeah. Oh God, this week will never end.
It never ends.
I don't know what day it is now. Friday. Is it Friday?
It is Friday. Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't make me struggle like this.
The thing you didn't mention last time, however, though, is that it has half pop-up headlights.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
It has garage doors.
Yeah, completely pointless because, as you can see, they're already out of the car.
Exactly. But they lift up slightly.
So, who designed this? Walk me through some of the facts I already know, and I'm going to pretend I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
We definitely didn't record this 2 days ago.
No, of course we didn't. Well, this was the 5th car by Giugiaro, and I couldn't say this word, and I'm not going to say it again, but I think it's the Copernican? Copernican Revolution. We'll go with that.
Yeah, that'll do.
The 5th car in the Casserole Revolution.
There we go.
I'm
glad you could think of a funny word beginning with C. I was racking my brain there.
I'm like, hang on, wait. But this is the 5th car that Giugiaro did, and he incorporated, well, at the time it was a company, not a person, a man named Montovani had believed several different choices that could be implemented. He went, I'm having that. And sort of went a bit mad with it. It was a nice Isuzu Gemini 1800, which I believe is partially related to a Chevrolet. Quite a lot of it.
If I'm okay, I went look this up afterwards. The Holden, I know there's a Holden Gemini.
There is a Holden, yeah, indeed.
Obviously Holden, Chevy are both GM, so I got a funny feeling there is a little tie in there somewhere. Yeah.
So Montovani had said that the drip channels. So in most cars of this time, you had gutters. He said those need to go. They're ugly.
Is that at the base of the windows?
Top. So where the roof.
Where
the roof.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you think classic Mini, and even with the current Mini, the roof looks tacked on.
I never actually realised that's what they were for.
They were gutters. They're to stop snow and sludge and dead things to fall on you when you get out and get in.
We actually didn't discuss this last time. I'm
we
actually learning things now.
Yeah.
Did you put extra research in the extra time?
No, I just rushed it. I can't talk.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to practice beforehand next time. Whoops. But these windows, he said that windows needed to fit flush. So you have the rear 3/4 light windows, you have the normal driver's windows. They were flush fitting.
That's actually a very modern design.
Very.
Yeah.
But what's more modern is limousine doors.
Okay,
So what limousine doors are is the top of the door reaches into the roof.
So what is the advantage then of that?
To stop you getting absolutely sodden when it's raining. Ironic, really, with today.
Yeah.
So as you open the door...
For context, by the way, Storm Unicus,
or
Eunice,
Euphrates,
or whatever it is, is currently ripping its way through everything. It's just destroyed the O2 Arena.
Yep.
It's been bouncing my poor little MR2 around the various motorways all the way down to Kent.
Yep. I'm surprised my Terios hasn't fallen over like an upturned portally.
Yes. Sorry, limousine doors. Yeah. So they cover you from getting soaked.
Yep. And Montalbani had discovered these points, and they had been used in different cars individually. He put them all together, basically, to create a very, very smooth profile. I couldn't get the coefficient of drag up, but it's slippery. And you can see it with the Scirocco shape, because Giugiaro did the Scirocco.
I was going to say, what are the other cars? Because he did the Scirocco. Did he do the original Golf as well?
You did. Original Golf, the FSO Polonaise as well.
We all love the Soviets.
We love the Poles.
One day I will have to do a Soviet car episode, because I just love Soviet cars.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Did Giugiaro do the Delorean? Or was that Bertoni?
Yes, it was, because it was a rehashed Lotus Esprit. Done in stainless steel, so when you drive in the sunlight, you can't see.
Yeah.
So you're blinded
and also
by
it's really
mobile
heavy.
forks.
It's a very heavy sports car.
With a terrible V6.
Yeah. So talking of terrible V6s and powertrains, what is powering this?
Well, you see, the French arse decided to use the engine from the Gemini 1.8 straight 4, 130 horsepower.
Now, if I remember correctly, and this is what I was saying, because you said this powers the rear wheels? And
the rear wheels, indeed.
What gearboxes are available here?
For the production version, it was a 5-speed manual and 4-speed auto.
I don't know why all autos are always 3 or 4 speed. I never understood that. But I looked this up at the end. The AE86 Corolla, Takumi fame, of which I have a Lego model on my bed because I am a weeb.
Because weeb.
Yes. The AE86 had about 138 horsepower. Very similar to... In fact, I think the AE86 is actually slightly larger. If I'm looking into this correctly. So it's actually interesting to see that this very, very, very similar sort of proportions, characteristics, all this sort of thing to the AE86. And would have been relatively cheap as well.
Much cheaper.
Yeah. And this actually is designed. Because after the failed recording, I had to do a test run with this with my good friend Dalen in the States. Dalen, if you're listening, you gay. And he was actually saying how, in a weird way, despite the fact that obviously we both love Initial D and we both love the A86, this is a much better looking car because they actually designed it. The A86 is just box. This is and especially when you look at the dashboard, which obviously
we'll mental.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second because I know you're raring to go on that. It's interesting that when you see the A86 is now this legendary status, and yes, okay, Initial D has its effect in that, and this is completely unknown,
completely removed from everyone's society, from everyone's memories, despite the fact it had handling by Lotus.
Yeah, exactly, and that's truly bizarre. This should have been, sound like hotcakes, and you have to think: is it because of the Isuzu name badge? Because obviously Toyota can sell 1 million Corollas because it's Toyota.
They know that they're there.
Whereas Isuzu, I guess, when you're looking at a brand that's so well known for its Troopers and its D-Maxes, is that where you're going to struggle selling cars like this?
They're thinking, it's going to drive like a shed.
So I wonder then, if they'd sold this, and there's obviously you have the Geo brand in
America,
GM, which is basically just recaptured Suzukis and Isuzus.
Hmm.
I wonder if they'd sold it perhaps as, say, something like a Geo or something under a different brand name. Would this have sold in a way that we'd remember this? This would be...
It'd be in our minds all the time.
This would have been what worked for the Fujiwara tofu shop, you know.
I reckon so. Because it's not the prettiest car in the world, don't get me wrong, but it's far from ugly, and it's certainly interesting. Like the dash for the main part is mad.
Yes,
And
very, very 80s.
Very.
And I do love these massive pods either side of the wheel.
the fun fact is those pods move. They're on a vertical axis, and they can be pivoted individually, so one can move from the other. So if you've got a hand that's 12 foot longer, you can reach further. But everything is where you need it to be, and just down to your left where you would have controls is a radio and much padding and space. And so it's good for ergonomics, it's comfortable, the seats apparently were fantastic, and they sculpted you, very much of a Renault Fuego Turbo kind of vibe. And everything, the steering wheel did obstruct somewhat, especially in the production variant, but it was mad, and no one does it anymore, and that's quite a sad thing. Everything's a screen now.
Well, it's the fun thing actually on that. They've found most car companies who go to just screens now have to put a lot more money into going back to having buttons, because people are now realizing, hey, we don't like having screens do every single thing the car does, which is interesting. The only thing I will say is, looking at these dash pods, as great an idea as they are, I can't quite. So is this these arrows on the left hand one here? Is that the indicators? Also, the aircon control seems a bit bizarre.
Hot, cold.
Or is that memory and I don't know.
I have no idea. One of them had cruise control.
Oh,
They did have cruise control in the end.
I don't have cruise control in my car.
I don't.
So I had to drive 4 hours down here, just on my right foot, on my left foot for some of it. So I got into a lot of pain.
Brilliant.
I absolutely love this. I think this is a superb looking thing, and that has grown on me massively since the first time. I didn't like it initially because of the back end. I think the back end looks very Volvo, but not in a good way.
I'm thinking Audi 100 Avant.
Yes, actually, Audi Coupe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The S2, not the...
not the Quattro, the one that came after it. I mean...
But if I remember, the Quattro was done by Giugiaro.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That was the ASO something, but it meant Ace of Spades.
Because this is,
Ace of Clubs.
Yeah, this is Ace of Clubs, which is, what a bizarre name. And this is the cool thing about the Italian language, is that you can name anything, any old bullshit. It just sounds kind of sexy. Like, this is the Ace of Clubs. That's not even the sexy name, you know. The Ace of Spades is the cool one.
Yeah.
But no, you read it as Asso di Fiore. And it's
The
like,
Arse of Fire.
Yeah. But the only unsexy part of that is the Isuzu badge, which is a shame. But, as is.
Shall we?
Yes, we shall.
One of my personal favourites. And it's
you've cheated again here, because this one
right.
was made. There is one of these in my hometown. Well, I say my
right,
hometown.
Okay.
Definitely not my hometown, where I live.
No, where you live, where you're from.
However, it looks very, very, very different to the one in the bottom left, which I'm assuming is the concept.
The concept, indeed.
So, talk me through what's so different here.
So, the Vehicross, or Vehicross Potato, it's a name, frankly. Whoever thought of it, forget it. It was designed by Isuzu to be sort of the pinnacle in off-roading panache, yet be sort of pragmatic. Everyone that buys a Vehicross would love it and would own it and would never get rid of it. They've made some very interesting design choices, that's for sure, because the interior, I'd say that's Dominatrix Red. That gives me Dungeon Master vibes, I'm not going to lie.
That was not in the notes. Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Black and red leather.
What are you saying about a car with black and red leather interior?
I'm thinking Trinity from The Matrix.
You've not seen my MO2 in person yet.
Yeah, I have. I'm suddenly moving very far away. But the coolest thing about the Vehicross was it was ready to be produced sort of from the get-go, because it was a trooper. It was a short wheelbase trooper. something Land Rover never thought to do with the Discovery. Did it with the Defender, but they never made a short wheelbase version. They made a 3-door, which was highly impractical.
And Honda rebadged it for
as
some
the
reason.
Crossroad.
Yeah.
The world's most unreliable Honda. And the first Honda with a
Oh,
V8.
actually, I wouldn't go that far because Honda did also have a series of Rovers.
Oh yeah, the Concerto.
Oh wait, no, sorry, it's the way around, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was Rovers that were Hondas.
But
Therefore,
worse.
the most successful, the most reliable Rovers ever built in that
Apparently.
case.
Excuse me, and it's again just mad. It's completely different from what the Arse of Fire is and was, what it became. This became a real thing, and yeah, I have realised after making this that I made a massive cock up of what the whole thing is about. But still,
it's too late. The cursed episode must go on.
Indeed, and I will definitely do my research next time. But the production variant, the B pillar, now that I look at it, is giving me Vauxhall Frontera.
No, the Vauxhall Frontera is cooler.
Nah, this is cooler because it has a 3.5 litre V6.
What it actually makes me think of is a slightly knockoff version of the RAV4. Like if you want to have a video game where you don't want to pay for any licensing, it looks like a RAV4.
Yeah, exactly.
For that, but I do think the concept one looks a hell of a lot madder. And if I remember correctly from last time, feature-wise, it is because wasn't it built for the Dakar Rally?
It was built for and ended up in the Dakar Rally. But with the concept variant, it had various requirements that never foresaw itself on the normal Vehicross. Aside from, oh god, how am I going to pronounce this? Monotube shocks with external heat expansion chambers.
And that's
off-road bikes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's off-road biking, isn't it?
And so it had, I believe, 2 sets of those on each wheel. So it was tough. It was built tough, and could cope with anything. But they went a bit mad with carbon fibre, did old Isuzu.
But carbon fiber's light, though, isn't it?
It's very, very,
cool.
very light.
Light,
it's
light is
expensive.
cool.
Light is, being fat is not seen as cool nowadays. But you're welcome. So the grille, carbon fibre. The black, basically matte black bonnet, that was carbon fibre.
Was the big fat sort of wheel arch not? Is that all carbon fibre or is that plastic?
That was ceramic.
Oh.
So that was ceramic pressed.
Oh, so it's
basically
like the space shuttle.
Pretty much.
You could drop this from space and it won't burn up.
It would, except from the tyres, they'd be a bit crispy, but otherwise it'd be fine. It would land. It could land on the moon and drive off. It looks like a moon buggy.
Yeah, actually, now you mention it, it kind of does. Yeah.
It's wide. He is a wide boy.
Wide is sexy. I mean, that's what made the Pajero Evolution look so cool.
And the Vitara Fat Boy.
I've not seen that. I'm going to have to Google that when we finish
They
this.
are fantastic. I love a Fat Boy. The bonnet had hinges known as fangs.
So is that what these sort of silvery bits here
So
are?
Exactly. The silver bits between where the Isuzu badge would be, those are fangs. So the bonnet would hinge like a clamshell almost.
A bit like
a Saab 900 or a BMW
Hummer H1.
V34, Hummer H1,
yeah.
yeah, anything like that. Those were hinges. But the floor panels, the fuel tank, they were carbon fibre. The chassis was aluminium.
They really had a theme with this, didn't they?
They had, I think, losing weight.
This is a
being
Via
wide.
Cross Superleggera.
Basically, yeah, with dominatrix red.
It does seem very Dakar Rally, which obviously makes sense. And if you ever get a chance to Google it, I definitely look up the Dakar Rally version because that is quite cool. It's got all the big spot lamps of
massive. I have it on YouTube.
It's
ready
made me
to watch.
want to buy big spot lamps for the MR2.
I want a brace of Sibbies for my Terios. I'd love one.
Everyone needs Sibbies, but I wonder why they toned down. Because when did the Via Cross come out?
Ooh,
It was mid 2000s, wasn't it?
I'd say early.
Because
I can't. Sorry. The Vehicross concept was in 1993.
Okay, so you look at that in that case. As I imagine that would have come out not long after.
I'd say I think it was 1997.
So that would have been around the same time as the Pajero Evolution. That to me actually looks like a slightly cooler alternative, and I love the Pajero. Evolution.
Pajero, yeah.
In reality, I would probably have Pajero, but
Yeah, sure.
You'd think, obviously, because especially at the time in Japan, there's a lot of money going around. This is the Japanese
The economic boom.
Yeah. So I do wonder why they toned it down so much. Because this is the thing, is I look at the concept, and the concept to me is pure unfiltered vision. This is, yes, I want to build a mad off-roader that is going to be better than everything else. It's going to be fast, it's going to be light, it's going to be carbon fibre, everything.
It's going to be built tough.
Yeah, it's going to have dominatrix left. I broke on that. And then they kind of went, hey, actually, let's tone it down and make it...
let's make it
a slightly bonkers RAV4.
But they still retain quite a few of the styling choices, but not as extreme.
It seems like they've toned it down to 9 from 11. Yeah. Which I don't think is bad, necessarily.
No, certainly not.
It's definitely... I mean, if you have this photo in the bottom right is the production model, yeah? If you see it there, that doesn't really do it justice. There is one in my town, and it does look like a big toy.
In yellow especially, you could write Tonka down the side and think...
yeah, it looks like a big Tonka toy. It's a very childish car, but...
presentable.
Yeah.
But not presentable.
I know what you mean.
It has presence.
Yes.
Has a presence to it.
It sticks out, but... And it looks like it's the wrong scale. It looks like... it. You know when you're a kid and you play with toy cars... And
Monster Jam from Hot Wheels.
Yeah, kind of like... It's just slightly wrong scale.
Yeah.
Slightly just like 1:43 with 1:40s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at it and you go, that should be smaller than it is. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't look right. It's bizarre, but I do really like it. I especially love the wing-mounted wing mirror.
Yeah.
I think
the Jap spec.
Yes,
JDM.
I love that.
JDM mirrors, they're brilliant.
I wish every car had them. I think they're so
My
cool.
Terios could have one.
Get one.
I have looked.
I will glue one on for you.
They're £200.
I have a spare wing mirror from my Alfa Romeo. I will tape it on for you.
Do it.
For a minimal fee of £1,000.
Week. 2,000.
Yes,
okay. Sold. Sold.
You do not know how to bargain, my friend.
No, yeah, there's a reason I lose money very quickly. What intrigues me most is this was going to have a direct injected supercharged 1.6 from the Lotus Elan. That I didn't read properly yesterday, and I now have taken a double take. It was supercharged.
Oh.
And then they went, no, and they gave it the 3.5 litre V6 from the Trooper.
Would that have been a Toyota engine at that point? I think it might have been.
I think it might have.
Yeah. I think that this is before the 2ZZ. Because, I don't know, actually, unless it was before the Elise. It might actually still be an Isuzu engine in that case.
Probably. So they've rehashed their old stuff.
When did the original Elise come out? That was 96, I want to say?
Yeah, I'd say 96.
Yeah, that was a K series, which very underrated engine.
Very much so.
Yeah, me and Will both big MG Rover fans, especially Twilight era. And we kind of got to explain that. It's like
that's how we start.
Yeah, it's like listen, I know what you're thinking, but they're actually good.
They're actually good.
So no, I don't think it would have been Toyota engine at that point. It would have probably still been Isuzu.
Which is funny because Isuzu made. It's funny, they made a lot of engines for cars that never used them. So the V6s, you had a 3.2 and a 3.5. That ended up only in the Trooper and the Axiom. Then it's strange. They made a 1.7 diesel that ended up in the Astra H or G. I can't remember.
Oh,
the really horrible, the terrible one from Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
They made various other engines. They made sports car engines. They made a 4.2 litre V8 at one stage as well, and then didn't. But they just scrapped it completely, which is big sad. But
there's a lot of engines. I think we should do an episode at one point on just random engines. I want to do an episode on rotaries. The amount of rotary engines that have been built over the years and they're never actually used is a travesty.
I want to mention the Napier Deltic because that's just insane.
Care to elaborate? I have no idea what this is.
88 litres.
Oh, okay.
3 banks of opposed cylinders of, I believe it's...
Is this a train engine?
Yeah, it's a diesel. marine engine, biggest engine in the world, I think.
Oh, I do know. I actually know this engine.
And it fires sort of like the Spider-Man meme, where they're all pointing at each other. It fires like that.
I know.
Basically.
I know exactly the engine you're on about because they do use it in trains.
It's mad. But
We've gone very off topic.
yeah, we have, but one fact that they were going to do, which I'm really upset that they didn't, because they kept the dullest interior aside from the Dominatrix. It was going to have a motorcycle binnacle, so it was going to have basically a dash pod that moved with the steering wheel.
I'm kind of glad it doesn't though, because
Yeah.
that seems incredibly impractical. Just
Turn left. Oh shit.
Yeah. What speed was I doing?
No idea.
Yeah, that doesn't seem wise, but it's interesting at the very least.
But it had a vertical sub-panel, basically. A Sony sat-nav and LED pop-up monitor would come out the top of the dash.
In '93.
Huh.
That's very ahead of its time.
Very.
That didn't sort of become a thing really until what, 2008, 2009. That's not.
I'd say yeah.
Yeah,
Later,
that's
mid 2000s.
And that's only on like mid sort of, well, mid higher.
S-Class.
Yeah, S-Class.
7
Maybe
Series.
your nicer Volvos.
Hmm.
You know.
It was exactly like that. It would rise out the dash like any Volvo of the 2000s period.
That's very interesting.
It's a shame they didn't, because that's dull.
Yeah,
That would bore me. I'd get bored and paint things on it.
That seems very. I mean, you
I
paint.
have a history with that.
You paint everything, yeah.
I don't like the aftermarket value of my cars.
You should have absolutely seen Will's Micra. The interior was the only redeeming feature of that.
And then the next owner painted it all back.
Ah,
And I got big sad.
heartbreaking.
Heart sob.
You know, this is the thing you find with a lot of Japanese car companies. Actually, Toyota, as much as I love them very much, a thing that does this, and same with Isuzu. Just you could build. They can build. Yeah, exactly. They can build a very dramatic car. My MR2 is actually a good example of this. The actual car itself, very interesting.
Dynamic.
Yeah, you know, mid-engined. You know, but because it's all part spin.
It's a bit forgettable.
Yeah, the interior is
Doesn't
very
wow you.
functional. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very functional, very nice interior to look at, but it's all part spin.
We could exchange wing mirror
Yeah,
controls.
exactly. This is actually something we laughed at before. Is the Terios and my MR2 both have the same wing mirror controls.
Yep.
It's and this is the thing that you find with a lot of Japanese car companies is that is kind of any of the drama or the excitement. That's the outside and the engineering, and they want that to speak for itself. But the interiors tend to just sort of
Bore you.
yeah, it's very functional, very well built.
Other than that, you don't really care. You really couldn't.
I do agree with you. I think this the Via-Cross does suffer with that. You got a very like you were saying. This is the weird thing as well. Is you want the whole thing was it needed to be characterable and
Sort of dynamic
Yeah.
to suit an audience.
But when you do that, you forget the thing you encounter most of the time is the interior.
Yeah, that's where you sit.
Yeah, and this is where I think Alfa Romeo, for example, does a great job of it, because the interior on an Alfa Romeo is always slightly weird and it feels very
Different.
yeah.
For me, Citroen do it best.
Citroen do a fantastic job of it.
The
but
GSA.
but it's, to use my 147 for example, which is a very tame Alfa. There's blank buttons for no reason, even though those buttons are only blank because they added a new button that does the same thing as the old button, so they left the old button there, which does nothing. Also, all the gauges are in Italian. No idea why. Also, it's going to shout at you in Italian occasionally if you get something wrong. That very bonkers and then you've got this lovely bit of design with the interior. You know, you look at 159 for example, a very driver-centric interior, really lovely thing. Makes you feel happy to be in it. Makes you feel like it's even if it's not very well built.
No.
Because my 147 was crap on interior build quality.
Brittle.
But it felt so special and so interesting to be in.
Whereas,
you didn't care.
Whereas the Veracross doesn't.
Yeah,
that
which is
doesn't
the
do it for
Veracross.
me.
You've got this bonkers looking thing on the outside, but once you sit inside it, you could be in a RAV4, you could be in a Nissan Terios, or whatever it is. Not Terios,
Nissan Terrano.
Yeah, you could be in any Japanese SUV in that, and I think that
Outlander.
Yeah.
You're bored. It's all the same.
Which is
but
a shame.
there is certainly something that is not the same. It's a Hot Wheels. Wakey America.
It's Pimp My Ride. Are we in a Britney Spears music video?
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. The Axiom XSR.
Now, again, I went to this presentation to try and test the audio footage, which is not going to work at all because we're doing it in person through the same headset now. But like I said, I was talking to my friend Dalen about this, and we were both saying how it kind of doesn't look like any particular size car. It looks like it's trying to be an SUV and a sports car and like 4 or 5 different other things at the same time.
It's an identity crisis.
Yeah. So, what size is this car?
Well, they shortened the wheelbase for a start. So this was taken from the Axiom, which was dog crap.
Yeah, which is a Porsche Cayenne
kind
size.
of thing.
Yeah.
Again, they both. Well, every Axiom used a 3.5 litre V6 from the Trooper. I think 230 horsepower. Pretty good.
Moderate. Okay.
Pretty good for the time when it was in the late 90s. Now terrible. But it went from 106.9 to 96.9 inches. So that was the wheelbase.
That's how many inches less, sorry?
Math. Oh, God. I don't know, 10?
10.
Yeah,
I'm
10.
going to say it's 10.
I'm not measuring that.
I space out in numbers.
Yeah, math me no do good. But the roof, the rear doors, and the tailgate were completely removed. The chassis was also stiffened. Obviously, you have to do that with a Roadster convertible, otherwise it folds in half like a deck of cards in a strong wind. But it ended up lighter. It used a lot of aluminium, and the rake of the windscreen was put back.
So very sporty.
And it was lengthened. The front doors were lengthened by 8 inches. So they made everything that little bit larger, yet smaller. At the same time, they made it lighter. It was, 230 horsepower, 230 pound-feet of torque, with a body that was lighter yet stronger.
What I don't understand about this car is, what is the point? So this is before your crossover phase. This is what, 2001? Did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so this came out in 2001. Did you say this was unveiled at SEMA as well?
SEMA.
Okay, so this should be aimed, I guess, at your Escalade crowd.
Escalade, Silverado, Yukon.
So what I don't understand is you've given this big kind of semi-luxury SUV with no roof, so it's a cool convertible thing, and it's automatic gearbox, and then you're giving it bucket seats and race harnesses.
Yeah.
I can't understand.
I don't get the logic.
Yeah. What? And again, it's not like it's a beach buggy or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because it's got low profile tyres
and
big
big
alloy
alloys.
wheels. Yeah.
And a dirty, great big chin spoiler.
And again, this is the sort of thing that would fit in it's very early to mid 2000s.
This is a car you find in cheap games for a PS3.
Something like Saints Row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saints Row or something like Cyberpunk, but before it was a thing.
Yeah, like a crap imitation. This to me looks like you'd find it in the background of a Britney Spears music video. And I don't mean that in necessarily a bad way.
But that's what it appeals to. It's
Yeah.
not. You couldn't drive that down Chipping Norton.
This seems like it was built purely and exclusively for California.
Yeah. Hot. Everyone's either very pretty or very fat. And it's a bit confused. It can't make much sense of itself. Because it was a 3-pronged assault from Isuzu. They did the XSF and the XST. The T meaning truck.
So I'm assuming that's a pickup truck
Yeah,
version.
it was a pickup truck version with the bull bar on the front. And the XSF, that was a fast, lower, more powerful version. And then this is just this.
So again, if you've already got the sport version,
What was the point?
Yeah,
because it's given me Range Rover Evoque convertible,
which is equally pointless.
The same as the Volkswagen T-Cross convertible.
I hate SUV convertibles. It just, I mean,
Unless it's a Jimny, which is fixed roof.
But the Jimny is the best vehicle of all time. Much better than a
By far.
Terios. Or if it's I kind of like half convertibles, like
you can
the
take
Vitara or something like that, or a Jeep. You know, you take some of the roof off. Right?
Or the Figaro.
Yeah,
you keep the pillars, remove the roof.
I mean, I wouldn't off-road a Figaro, but I mean, I would. But
I would.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, it's blasphemy, but
it's one of these things where I can't understand who would want to buy this.
Me.
Well, okay, yeah, but we're weird.
Yeah, it's for nutters.
this is where I do want, again, back to the point I made with the Asafire. Is this a case of the Isuzu brand not being the one for this? So, obviously, at the time, you have Nissan with Infiniti, you've got, obviously, famously Toyota with Lexus, Honda with Acura. Is it a case of if they rebadge this as a, I don't know, they come up with some new name, Mezdratron or something, or make it sound, make it sound, vaguely European.
Interesting, yeah. Like Mazda with their Marti, which then collapsed.
Yes, but which we will cover at some point as well, I'm sure. If you'd made this sound sort of vaguely European, or actually probably vaguely American, because this does look very American to me, wouldn't you agree? Is this the sort of thing you could have sold then? And again, because they actually did sell the Axiom, didn't they? And it didn't sell very well. How long did that last? Have you got the
2 model years?
2 model years, so a disaster.
Excellent off-road, but drove like pudding on-road.
So I have to wonder, obviously I'm assuming it had the same Tonka toy interior as the Via Cross we looked at earlier. Yeah. Like, functional but not very exciting.
You can see a little smidge of it, and that's about your lot.
But this is a concept version, obviously, so I'm assuming the actual production model had much different. I wonder if it's a combination of that and the fact, obviously, again, it's an Isuzu badge. People don't. To me, I look at a. Oh, so actually, I'm looking at a photo of the production one here. It is exactly what. Really, I think it's even the same steering wheels earlier.
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah. So, I do wonder. Obviously, Isuzu, I'm assuming, has a different image in America than it does here. But to us, obviously, an Isuzu is what, a farmer's vehicle?
Definitely a farmyard car.
It's not. You don't buy an Isuzu because you want a nice
Chelsea
luxury
tractor,
SUV. Yeah. So I wonder if they'd had maybe just rebadged it, you know,
something with a bit more prestige.
You know, the Pulse Star or something like that. I think I'm combining various actual names.
Everything at once.
but if they'd given it a different brand, could that have? Because I could see this selling. This is the thing: is if you'd taken the Isuzu badge off, if you put a Porsche badge on that.
I was about to say. Yeah.
If you put a Porsche badge on that would have sold.
Yeah.
Like hotcakes.
If you put Cayenne on the back.
If you put maybe Mercedes badges on it, or Audi badges, I could see this selling again to California only.
Yeah. It's to your deserts and to people that want to flash yourself, but I couldn't see that parked outside a church.
Yeah, but the only problem is it just doesn't quite seem focused enough. It seems very. It's trying to.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, it's got
confused.
It's got the underpinnings of a vehicle that's very, very good off road, very, very hard working
with torque on demand.
Yeah. But then you're giving it this sort of showy exterior, and you're giving it bucket seats. So I wonder maybe if they'd gone a bit more down the beach buggy route.
Yep.
You know, made this sort of beach crawling thing. I don't know. And obviously they never did make it, so we could never tell if we'd be right on this. But I wonder. I wonder if in an alternate universe somebody went, hey, let's call it the Axiom. Hey, call it Axiom.
Yeah, the Axiom.
Give it the brand name Axiom. That would be
an XSR.
Yeah. That could that have sold it? Hell, even if they got the GM and said, hey,
sell this,
buy this off. Yeah, sell this as the Geo Axiom or something like that, or sell it as a Chevy. Could that have sold as a Cadillac? Actually, I could see this selling
as a Cadillac.
Yeah,
because it gives me SRX in a way. I mean, the SRX is terrible, but it looked different.
I think everything GM makes is terrible.
Oh, mechanically yes, but visually they were pretty.
Some.
Cadillac for me. They were good. They were different at the same time.
Pontiac's your boy, or Saturn, or the gem of the GM fleet, Saab. You had a Saab for a while.
I loved my Saab.
I miss your Saab.
I miss very much indeed.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems like a car of no fixed identity, just complete confusion.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense when you look at the concepts we've looked at today. Obviously, is Isuzu does seem to have some brand confusion at times, which goes.
Just a checkered history.
We make sports cars,
and now we make the fast car.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Impulse RS, that is a cool looking half sports car, half muscle car looking design.
Yeah,
I love that. I think that's
brilliant.
So cool. But obviously, it doesn't make any sense.
No,
and nobody really bought them. As again,
which is why I wanted to include it. It's they're just showing what they did do in the end, but no one knows why.
Well, I feel like I've been enlightened. I feel actually educated. And I also feel like
it's a broken record.
Yeah, we've had to do this podcast already, and and yeah,
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, so that means I've got to do an announcement. March 20th. If you're a fan of the Alex Twin Spark channel, as I hope you all are, and you probably are if you watch this, there's going to be a meet in Stafford. The details aren't confirmed yet. I have no idea where it's going to be, but I know it's going to be in Stafford. Come along. Are you coming, Will?
What day is it?
20th of March.
Saturday, Sunday?
Sunday.
I'm going to try.
Super Sunday.
Let's see if my brakes don't lock up on the way there.
Hey,
I'm having that problem.
Are you mocking me for having my brakes lock up on me and spinning me out again?
No, never. Mine are on fire.
It turns out, by the way, I found out one of the reasons why my car keeps spinning out. My shock is leaking. That might explain why I keep nearly dying. Anyway, I'm going to say we wrap it up here, because I am now dying of tiredness, and I still haven't finished travelling today.
No, of course. And what are you presenting to us in the forthcoming...
I'm going to be touching on Alfa Romeo, because I am an Alfa Romeo whore.
Slut for Alfa.
The
yes. Italians.
So in 2 weeks' time... No, in a week's time. Oh, God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that is.
We're going to attempt, and probably likely fail again, to stick to
a regime.
Yeah, and actually record that and get that out on time. But
this is where we do the podcast like this. We sit next to each other. I come up, you come down.
Yeah, that's going to have to end up being what it is. I mean, we've got guest episodes booked with North American guests. They're going to have to come over. It's going to be very expensive.
It's going to be very, very expensive.
So yeah, we do apologise, and I think this one might end up going up a bit later than normal.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have editing issues. Because I've got to edit this up in Stafford, and I'm currently down in Kent.
Yeah, that's a bit of a difference.
Yeah, so I apologise for this being a bit late and the audio quality being a bit weird. I'm really hoping it's come through okay. Otherwise, we're gonna have to do this again.
I hope not.
Yeah, we're currently at the end of hour 3 almost now of recording total.
Yep.
Which is going well for us.
Yep.
But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this.
Thank you for listening and putting up with our.
We will hopefully get better in the future. As this one, because obviously we're right. So to give you context, we're meant to record these on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I had overtime on Sunday, so we couldn't do it Sunday. So we said, right, we'll do it Wednesday afternoon. Nobody at my house kind of arrived home to take the dogs off me at the time we were going to record, so we had to go, right, we'll do it at 8.
Yeah.
Then we recorded at 10 o'clock. Turns out the entire audio gone, useless. Can't use
terrible.
That. Tried to re-record day after, ran out of time, and then we had to try and record today. We've had several different issues trying to get this to record. So
external factors are fun.
Yeah, and also there's a massive storm that nearly killed me on the way down. But at least we got it done, eh? So I think that's it. That's it from me. I'm gonna go to my uncle's now so I can go to bed.
Yep.
So
go sleepy night times.
So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you'll be back in a fortnight. It will be better. We
Much
swear.
Improved. I will do my homework.
You won't need to. It'll be my episode.
I'll still do my homework.
Alright, thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening, good night, good whatever time of day it is.
Time. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right. Goodbye.